So let's quickly chat about consolidation loans. So what is a consolidation loan? It is a loan that people take out, and then they take that loan to pay off other loans. So for example, you might have a personal loan, an overdraft, a revolving credit, and a credit card. So you take a consolidation loan, which is basically a personal loan for the amount that all of these debts are. You pay all those debts off, and then you just pay the one loan. Usually, if you pay the one loan, you will pay less a month than you would on all the other loans. So it might cost you 5,000 Rand a month for all your small loans. You do a consolidation loan, and now it costs you 3,000 Rand a month for the same amount. Now, a couple of things. Why is it cheaper? Well, sometimes a consolidation loan is at a lower interest rate, but most often it's because the term gets extended again. Because what happens is, as you pay off debt, your personal loan, you might have paid for 12 months already. Your credit card is a back and forth. So you've paid some of these loans. Now we are fixing it to a term, another 60-month term, another 5 years. So the payment becomes less, but overall your debt becomes more expensive, because now you're paying interest on money on debt you've already paid interest on for a new term. So all in all, consolidation loans is the last resort that you want to use. And if you do go that route, you can only make a consolidation loan work if you address the cause of the problem. The issue with a consolidation loan is it only addresses the symptom. What is the symptom? Is that you don't have enough money to service all your debt. You don't have enough cash flow to service all your debt. But a consolidation loan addresses that symptom. It pays off the debt and it reduces the cash flow expense, but it doesn't address the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is, why did you get into this debt in the first place? What happened that resulted in you getting into too much debt for you to service with your cash flow? And if you don't address the cause of the problem, and this is the biggest danger of a consolidation loan, is you are going to be back in a worse situation within 3 to 6 months. Because what's going to happen is you're going to settle all your loans, you're going to have your consolidation loan, and within 6 months you're going to have a credit card with credit card debt again. You're going to have another personal loan, you're going to have another revolving credit, because you couldn't cover all your expenses. So you have to go back first and say, but why did I get into this debt situation? Take control, and then only do you consider a consolidation loan. So guys, don't just run and think a consolidation loan is going to be your solution. The only way you make a consolidation loan work is if firstly you have taken control of your cash flow. You know that you now have positive cash flow available. You then take that consolidation loan, and then the money that you save plus your extra cash flow goes into that consolidation loan over and above the normal amount that you were paying in any case. And through that, you will settle that consolidation loan in a shorter period. But if you really structure your finances properly, like we teach, you won't need to do it through consolidation loan. You'd be able to pay off all your debt even quicker than doing it through the consolidation loan and then paying more on the consolidation loan. And I'm going to explain to you how we do that now. So the consolidation loan is only the symptom, or addresses the symptom. It doesn't address the cause of the problem. So the key thing here is that you need to take control of your cash flow. And you do that by creating a proper budget. Now, as part of our coaching, we've created a tool called the Strategic Expense Planning Tool, which is a tool that manages your cash flow or shows you where all your money's gone. Here's one of the issues, one of the mistakes people make is they think budgeting is a predictor of the future. So typically what happens is they sit in the beginning of the month, they write down all of their expenses, or they have a little Excel spreadsheet, and they look at how much money they're getting in, and they look at how much the expenses are, and if they're going to have any money left. And then they go, well, it's going to be a good month. I've got enough money to pay all my debts. Then by the 20th of the month, they run out of cash flow. They're in trouble. They now have to go into their overdraft, or they have to add more expenses onto their credit card. They have to take out a personal loan, whatever the case may be. And then they look back at the month, they say, gee, that wasn't a good month. But the next month they do their budget again, and they think next month things are going to be better. So budgeting is 80% looking backwards first, and only 20% preparing or looking forwards or planning for the future. So you first have to look at what happened to your money before you can plan what's going to happen to it next. So the strategic expense planning exercise looks at what has happened to your money in the previous month. It gives you a clear overview of where did your money go. Guys, we've done the research, and the average middle to upper middle class family in South Africa overspends by at least 10%. That means if you have a budget of 30,000 Rand a month, you have at least sitting there, you've got 3,000 Rand a month that you cannot account for. You don't know where that money's gone. And if we can harness that money, if we can plug those holes in your budget and then allocate that money towards your debt settlement strategy, you will get yourself out of a debt hole very, very quickly. The problem is we never look back and see where does this money go. We tend to think that the only way to fix our problem is to add more income to the pot. And most often it is not an income problem. Most often people's financial problems is an expense, a financial management and expense problem, not an income problem. The analogy I use to explain it to people is, if you stayed in a cabin in the woods and you had to go get water for your cabin at the river every single day, and you had a bucket that you had to walk to the river 500 meters away and bring water to your cabin, but the bucket had holes in it, what will you do first? Will you start running faster? Will you just walk more often to get the water? Or would you sit down for a while and first plug the holes in your bucket? Make sure that your bucket's holes are plugged so that you can walk less. And that is exactly the opposite of what we do in real life with our money. Our bucket is our budget. But most people's budget is full of holes. You are losing at least 10% of what you put into the bucket, into expenses that you cannot account for. So then, what do? We don't sit down and plug the holes in our bucket. We try and earn more money, put more water into the bucket. So we work overtime. We get a job that pays more. We get a part-time job, or we get a part-time business. Everything focused on how do I earn some more money, instead of first focusing on managing the money that we earn in the first place. And that's the same with a consolidation loan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some money, pay off the debt so that I have to spend less. But we're not addressing the problem that got us into that situation in the first place. So you have to make sure that you get a proper budget and a proper cash flow management system, which is what we teach in our coaching. Remember, cash flow is king, not cash. Cash flow is king. You need to make sure that you have control over your cash flow. You need to start looking at your finance as if you are a business. What is the purpose of a business? The purpose of a business is to create profit. So what is your purpose? Your purpose should be to always have positive cash flow at the end of the month, a profit. So most people don't run their business, their personal business, which is their personal finance, as a business. Therefore, they have a loss every month. And that's why they get into debt, deeper and deeper and deeper debt. So you need to look at, how do I create a positive cash flow? How do I create a profit every month out of my financial situation? And the only way you can make or increase your profit or your positive cash flow is two ways. The first one is you can increase your revenue. And that is the one that everybody runs to. But the more important one initially is to decrease or take control of your expenses. So if you have less expensive, you create positive cash flow. If you have more revenue, you create positive cash flow. So start with the ones that are the easiest, which is decreasing expenses, and then focus on increasing revenue. Because if you don't have that control, every time you put more revenue into your bucket, what's going to happen? Your expenses are going to increase. And you're just going to be in this negative cycle the whole time. So you have to run your finance or your personal finance as a business. Your goal should always be to create and increase your positive cash flow. Your profit at the end of the month, your goal should be to increase that profit. And the only way you can increase that profit or know whether you are increasing that profit is by knowing what that profit is, being aware of how much money you have left. And this is the question. If I had to ask you now, how much money did you have as a profit last month? How much money did you have extra after all your expenses last month? Most people, I would say 95 to 99% of people won't be able to tell me. They know how much money they have in their bank account, but they don't really know how much money they made last month, how much profit they made last month. And that is what you need to be aware of. How much profit did I make this month? Okay. Another tip on your budgeting is give every rand a job. What that means is you need to understand exactly where your money is going. Awareness is key. 80% of the battle is won once you have the awareness of where your money is going and you have a plan moving forward. But you can only have a plan once you know what's happened in the past. And then the last thing before we get to the debt settlement is embrace your true expenses. Guys, it's so easy for us to bullshit ourselves. We assume certain things. We average. Oh, I think eating out and takeaways is only about 500 Rand a month. We don't look at the actual expenses. So you have to really, really look at your expenses if you want to improve. You can't make assumptions. You can't average it out. So when you look backwards, look at exactly how much money you've spent on each thing. Don't bullshit yourself. It is so easy for us to do. And only once you have that and you've created a positive cash flow, can you start creating a debt settlement strategy. So that's the first step in getting rid of your debt, is look at your cash flow, take control, and see how you can create positive cash flow at the end of the month, a profit. Because that profit is going to be the key to getting rid of the debt.